Hello students, let us continue chapter number 10, Organs of Government. So today we are going to discuss our next topic, that is governance at local level. The central government has a very vast responsibility of looking after the welfare of nation. So it becomes extremely difficult to carry out the administration of the entire nation from a single place, that is from central level. To achieve higher efficiency and smooth working, the powers and duties should be decentralized, that is, they should be divided among people and organizations at various levels. To do so, institutes of local self-governance have merged the administration of a village, town, or city carried out by the representatives of people elected by locals in the local institutions, organizations is called institutes of local self-governance. For administrative efficiency of geographical regions, the responsibility and functions of the government are divided into these local institutions. Similarly, municipality, municipal corporation, etc. are institutions of local self-governance at urban level. Decentralization of power solves problems of people and satisfies their needs, expectations, and aspirations properly. Now, advantages of local self-rule organization. The institutions of local self-governance provides training to people on ways to conduct election, voting, duties, responsibilities, administration, and ruling and opposing parties. Under this system, the region gets an opportunity of self-development. Since the development and welfare takes place from grassroots level, it can then be extended to upper levels of governance. This helps in filling the gap and improving the system of entire nation. As a result, institutions of local self-governance are known as the training schools and laboratory of constitutional improvement in democracy. In 1992, in the entire country, similar Panchayati Raj and urban institutions of local self-governance came into existence. Now the next topic is three-tier structure of the Panchayati Raj. Institutions of local self-governance at the rural level. Gram Panchayat, Taluka Panchayat and the District Panchayat is an administrative structure. Each organization is mutually joined from top to bottom at all the levels of the Panchayati Raj in order that the local developmental tasks, schemes and welfare oriented programs are carried out efficiently. These organizations are provided with required funds and means. There is a chief of the district panchayat and various chairmen of various committees of the district panchayat. Whereas the administrative head is the district development officer, that is DDO, and the main office of the district panchayat is situated at the district headquarters. Now, similarly, the leader of the elected wing of the Taluka Panchayat is called the president and the head of the administrative wing is called Taluka Development Officer. Student, you can underline this sentence. It can come in objective question. At the lower level, Sarpanch is the representative elected by the people and the administrative head is the Talati cum minister and he handles the administration of the panchayat. Now, the village in which the election and the Sarpanch are unanimously elected are declared as Samras villages and they are honored by a prize. Now student, you can see the chart given in your textbook, Indian Constitution. You can go through it. Okay. Now, Urban Institute of Self-Governance. As per the 74th Constitutional Amendment, the urban areas were provided with the local self-rule organizations on the basis of population of that area. Now, as per this basis, these organizations are divided into three tiers as follows. First one, municipality, that is Nagarpalika. Second one, Mahanagarpalika, that is municipal corporation. And third is mega city, Mahanagar Nigam. In all the three levels of the institutions of local self-governance, a mayor is elected from the majority party. The city is divided into various wards, that is regions. Chairmen of various committees and corporators are appointed to take care of these wards. Few seats are reserved for women and people belonging to reserved classes in these wards. These committees conduct various activities in several fields for the development and welfare of the city. For example, city planning, land reform, roads, flyover and bridges construction, water management, sewage management, civil development, environmental infrastructure, fire development, etc. are carried out by the local self-rule organization. There are three sources of revenue through which all these activities are done. They are taxes collected from people, government grant and assistance, and funds collected from people under public-private partnership, that is PPP. The administrative head of the municipal corporation is known as the municipal commissioner. Under him, there are zonal heads having technical and administrative knowledge and various officers. When a cordial relation is established between the elected wing and the administrative wing, then many works can be carried out relating to the welfare of the people. Now, the last topic is judiciary. Judiciary organ or judicial system. The judicial system or judiciary is the third important and foremost organ of the government. The legislative frames the law, the executive implements the framed law, and if the laws are broken, then the judicial system that imparts justice to maintain law and order. Now, as per the Constitution of India, all the citizens of India should get social, economic and political justice. By doing so, we can create a fair and equitable social order. Judicial system sees that if a citizen breaks a law, then he is either punished or fined. The judicial system also checks whether the laws are in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. If not, it can nullify the laws. The powers of the judiciary have been divided between the center and the state. It is the responsibility of the judicial system to see that both the central and the state government carry out their own work honestly and sincerely without interfering in each other's work. If disputes arise between the center and the state, they are settled by the Supreme Court. The Indian judicial system is continuous and linear. At the top, at the central level is the Supreme Court. At the middle, at the state level, there are high courts, and at the bottom level, there are trial courts, civil courts, criminal courts, and various subordinate courts. The judiciary is independent in its functioning. Neither executive nor legislature can interfere in its work. The independent nature of judiciary assures justice without bias or influence. Now, student, you have to complete your textual exercise in your CW as well as your workbook. So, I hope you have understood this chapter. Thank you.